Hello, my friends. Hello, hello in TV land, all the people out there. I am offering a short micro movement session to dive into our own body minds and offer up some loving kindness and some compassion for these wonders, these miracles that we exist in on the planet right now. I've been listening to a lot of stuff about autoimmune diseases. And essentially, in an autoimmune disease, our body is attacking itself. So, I'm going to offer this idea that perhaps on a cellular level, if we can come into ourselves, if we can offer some loving kindness and compassion to our own bodies, to our own selves, to come into harmony with being human, with living, existing in this human body on the planet right now, it might be helpful for us and everyone else. So, if this is a join me and move with me class, you may be seeing it at any time from now into the future. Um, so, take it as feels good to you. You can be laying down, you can be seated. The micro movement may be so small and subtle that you can't perceive it on the outside, but hopefully following it on the inside. And what is micro movement? It's just tiny little movements and adjustments. It's the fluidity in our body just removing, relocating, readjusting in little parts. So I'm going to start doing it as I'm talking. I'm also going to tune into my breath. Tuning into my breath support, tuning into the support of my lungs. Coming into my relationship with the air, right? It comes into me and then I breathe it back out and it shares out there with the rest of the universe. So, first foundational level for me right now is breath support, tuning into the movement of the breath. And if I add some sound in the exhale, I can bring in a little sigh of relief, maybe some release. Oh, maybe I need to shake some stuff out. Maybe the shake is very gentle and very soft and very internal. Oh, yeah, our body is holding on to everything that ever happened to us, and it's holding on to it and maybe at these very subconscious levels. So for me, when I allow my body to move, I start to free up space. It's like if you imagine that you have this is a horrible analogy, but I'm going to use it anyway. If your body is the hard drive and it's all kind of stuck in its this is the way it is. Maybe when I start to move, I can start to like let some of that old programming drop away and give some space for new programming. And what is the new programming that I want in there? The new programming I want to bring in is that, oh, body, I am so grateful for you. I am so grateful to exist in this human body right now. And maybe there's some painful things. And I was just sick for 2 days. And a couple of those days, I was so sick. It was horrendous. I couldn't even lay down and be still because I felt so awful. So I was like getting up and moving around. I had a headache. I was nauseous. But it made me really appreciate my body now. Like I'm still a little sick, but I don't feel horrendous. I feel okay. This is a miracle. This is amazing. So I'm breathing into the gratitude of that, like, oh, I can breathe. I can breathe through my nose. I can breathe through my mouth. I can feel the growing and shrinking of my breath. And I'm going to imagine that I'm breathing deep down on the cellular level. And on the cellular level, I'm also going to tell my cells, thank you. Thank you for doing the work in my body. Thank you. I am so grateful that you're in there. And the extracellular matrix, they're in this complete harmonic relationship that's happening. Stuff is going in, it's coming out. There's nutrition, there's waste. Your lymphatic system is working with that. Yeah, we're bringing in oxygen, we're taking away, is it carbon dioxide? I always get that confused. On the cellular level, right? We're nourishing ourselves at all times, and we don't even need to think about it. Just breathing in air is nourishing ourselves. So can we tune into that nourishment and accept it? Thank you. Thank you for giving me that nourishment. and inviting in this little micro movement adjustment. So it could be tiny little spirals, tiny little movements of listening in to what does the organism want? What does the body level organism of you, it's not separate from your mind, but it's something that maybe people don't pay too much attention to. What does it want? What would feel good? Is there a way that I can play in here? Mm. And maybe it's playing with sound. Maybe I'm just yummy yum. Or maybe it's like, maybe that's too much. If that's too much, you probably would never have landed on my channel or gotten this far. So let's just say it's not too much and you can, yum, delicious. Oh, it's wonderful to have a body. And maybe you're thinking, oh, but there's so many things wrong with my body. Oh, this isn't right. That's not right. This is the wrong size. This is not the right thing. Oh, can I accept the things that are my flaws? Can I even love them? Ha. Yeah. So I grew up, not grew up, I, in my life, I've done a lot of ballet. And in ballet, what do you want? You want to be very thin. You want to not have any belly whatsoever. And I've had teachers tell me awful things about my body, about my belly, about my boobs, awful things. And I've taken that on. And where have I had problems in my body? In my guts, right? Where have problems been in that part of my body that I was like, oh, I just wish you were smaller. I just wish you weren't there. And now I'm kind of like, no, that's it. That's my belly. That's my guts. That's my body. I got to love it. I got to embrace it. Can I relax into it? Can I move and let those little micro movements move all the mesentery, all the organs, all the guts? Can I let that have some freedom? And be grateful and thankful that my digestive system works so well and that I have space down there. Even when it doesn't work well, it's still working. So just inviting in some gratitude for whatever it is and listening back into your body for what are the messages that you were given in your life that, of things that are wrong with you. I went to this modeling call one time and I was like 17 or 18 and they saw a picture of my profile and I have this little lump on my nose. And they looked at it and they said, yeah, you just that lump, that little bump on your nose, we can't use you. I'm like, oh my God, this is what I like. I had a dentist tell me that this tooth, they could fix it for me. I'm like, but I like it. This is what I like. Oh, but it could cause you problems. No, but I like it. It's got personality. So many messages are coming in throughout your whole life, but especially when we're little kids, like what messages came in? I had messages about my feet, and I always had issues with feet from being a little kid up until I don't know at what point I sort of decided to get rid of that feeling with my feet. Maybe when I was, at some point, I decided it was okay to wear sandals, but I don't think I did it up until I was like maybe 18 or 19 years old. I was like, I don't want to see feet. I don't want to see other people's feet. I don't want people to see my feet. And I think a lot of it was because people made fun of me. I'm not going to mention any family members' names, but of my toes because they're really long. So like I got teased about it within my family, and it just hit hard. Yeah, the things I got teased about that landed, and some of it was like pooping, which also goes with the gut stuff. Like my I had gone to the dentist, and I was a little kid, and I had gone to the dentist and I got a balloon because I was a very little kid, okay? Because I was so young that I did not wipe myself at this point. And I had gone to the dentist and I'd gotten this balloon and I came home, I was all excited about my balloon. And in the bathroom, I went to the bathroom and I was like, "Mommy, wipe me." And then I came out of the bathroom and my brother and my dad, I don't want to blame them. Maybe it wasn't them, but I'm pretty sure it was them, had written, "Mommy, wipe me" on the balloon. Now, I'm pretty sure I'm not fabricating that memory, but where do these issues from the gut come from? Where do these issues about the feet come from, right? So maybe in your history, and like, so how did that manifest as IBS later? Like, oh, irritable bowel system syndrome. You're feeling uncomfortable. Oh, I gotta go to the bathroom now. When you're out of control, what happens? Or when you feel like you're out of control. So when I was going through all this IBS stuff, I learned how to disassociate. I was like, okay, I can just sort of go out of my body and not deal with this. Or I'm so busy only feeling that thing that I'm not present in the world. And it's the only way that I can move forward. Hmm. So, how do we heal that stuff? Like for me, I invited in the knowledge of what happened and then some compassion for myself. And then I also sometimes think about, well, what would be the worst thing that could happen? Like if I have IBS, what would be the absolute worst thing? Like that I poop my pants somewhere. And that would really suck. But I also think that that would be kind of funny. And once I turn to the humor factor of that, that might actually be really funny, horrendous and awful, but super funny. It's not as bad. It suddenly becomes like, okay, and with the feet thing, I don't know how I turned that around. But now, I mean, I dance and I'm very happy with my feet. I love my feet. Like I they're great. They're wonderful. They do so much for me. So let's just play with that. If you have a body part that is either in pain or you don't know what the memory is in there, maybe there's some memory of something that happened that made you feel unstable or not ready to move forward, or I don't know, anything, whatever happened, or some kind of trauma around some shame or something horrible that happened to you and it relates to a body part. Just thinking into that, can we give the body part a little bit of love and say, you know what, I'm so sorry that that happened to you. And I actually feel very differently about you now. I'm quite happy with my feet. I'm not afraid to show them to anybody or see other people's feet. And about my guts, I still have that sometimes, like, oh my God, I gotta go to the bathroom. It still happens. But sometimes I go, well, can I relax in my belly and can I feel into my heart? So that I'm not in a panic and I'm not in an anxious place. Ha. And even just saying, can I feel into my heart? I can feel more spaciousness. I can feel more, I can come into myself, right? I can enclose myself. I can self soothe, but I can do that. It doesn't have to be bad. It can be like, okay, I just need to come in for a minute. I need to say, thank you, skin. Thank you for covering my whole body. Thank you, feet, for holding me up. Thank you, knees, for letting me jump around and do all my stuff. Thank you, hips. Thank you, belly, right? When we can be gracious and have gratitude for our body parts, then hello. Maybe we can start to have some compassion and move towards loving kindness with our body, right? We're all storing stuff inside, right? Whether we want to or not. There's all sorts of stuff that we store. There's the Bessel van der Kolk book, The Body Keeps the Score. And from my training in movement analysis, the way that we take on the stuff in our body, it's how we coped with being in the world, right? Whether that, and we did it as smartly as we could, as intelligently as we could. So if I get mad at myself for having IBS, or if I get mad at myself for having an injury, or if I get mad at myself for being sick, oh, you're so stupid, you shouldn't have done that. I'm only compounding the problem. I need to be like, oh, that is too bad, my little dear. I'm so sorry. Oh, can we breathe into it? Can we be present with it? Can we be present with those things and have compassion so that we become friends with ourselves? It's very hard in this culture when we see so many images that we're supposed to look like this. And the irony is that nobody actually looks like that because those images are all doctored and it's getting more and more. So, how do we tune into or tune out the stuff that's harmful and come into a sense of it's okay to be me like this right here, right now, even with all that's wrong with me or that's right with me? If I come out of judgment, that's the easiest way, so that there isn't actually any wrong or right. There just is the isness. How do I move with that? And with the micro movement, with this type of inquiry, if you want to find new places, you have to stop planning ahead where you're going in movement. You have to kind of allow, and you don't know what that's going to be like, right? So if I really let my system, now it's doing this weird, more jerky thing. But okay, that's what's happening. it's like, okay, maybe my nervous system needs to unwind something. Like, to be honest, I've never talked about any of this stuff. And actually, I'm feeling kind of emotional and I'm feeling like, oh my God, there is stuff in there. The stuff that I'm talking about my belly, about my feet, about having boobs. Oh my God, having boobs as a dancer. It's the last thing in the world you want. How does that land in my nervous system? And then to open up into that and say, okay, this is what's happening. Can I be kind to myself? Can I at least be civil? Can I not attack? And to start to notice, are there places in your day where you just lean into yourself? Oh, that was so stupid. Why did I do that? Or, oh, I know that in my life, some of the hardest things I've ever dealt with were when I couldn't forgive myself. It took 6 months once for me to forgive myself for being in a relationship that blew up and I knew was fucked up the whole time. And then finally I got out of it. And I was so angry because I had known. I was like, why did I let myself do that? But I'll tell you, that anger that was in my body powered me through a whole winter in New York. It like I never got cold that winter because I had that fire of anger inside. And I cried almost every day. I have forgiven myself for that. But it did take, there was one point where I was on a chiropractor's table and there were like 3 or 4 other people in the room who were all actually healers, and I felt like I was crying for the universe. All of them had their hands on my body, and it wasn't like, "Oh, this is a 5-minute cry." It was like 20 minutes of me going, "Ah!" I felt like I had unleashed, like, Kali and, "Ah!" So maybe there's some of that, right? Is there some anger stuck in there? Did horrible things happen to you that are hard to deal with that you need to start to like, let some of that stuff out in whatever way feels like it's kind to yourself, kind to your own animal body. Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, I can also like push, I can play with pushing, like finding some strength, pushing and pulling. And I could do that on a small level too. I mean, a micro level. So I could do it with just pushing and pulling with my feet. As I'm doing that, I'm just inviting whatever kind of stuckness is in my body to release. Yeah, little sounds. Ha. So really listening in and feeling like, okay, what is it right now? And then trust. It might be some weird thing that you decide that you need to do and you start doing it. If it feels right, it's the right thing. So there's no right or wrong on the outside of this. There's just sensation and going, oh yeah. If it feels good, it's the right thing. If there's relief, it's the right thing. Just inviting in anything that feels relevant to whatever it is you're thinking. And it may be strange images that come up. Hmm. So healing, there's all these different parts, and everybody's got stuff going on. Nobody's perfect. Nobody has nothing unhealed, right? There's always something, and it could be like genetic, it could be environmental, it could be trauma from your life, it could be trauma from your parents' life. There's so many parts of this, so many alive parts. It could be like an actual injury where you fell and hurt yourself. And sometimes we go through life just thinking, okay, well, now I've hurt that. Now that's done. Now I've hurt, now that's done. But that's not the way I like to approach it. I like to try and heal the things that are going on. Oh, by either facing whatever needs to be faced or doing whatever modalities are working for me. Like a lot of it, like I do a lot of hands on with myself. I do all that lymph flush, which I've got a ton of videos on. And then like all the clearing. How do I let things out? Ugh. Are there things stuck here in my throat and neck? And I'm pretty sure there are because I get headaches sometimes. So like there's some kind of connection. And it's usually I know it's related to how much I take on. How can I be kind to my own body and still move forward with what I want to move forward with? Maybe the moving forward sometimes is taking the time off, stepping back, moving away from it for a little while. There's the whole Tao. What is it that like to do nothing and accomplish everything? Ha. So allowing yourself also to tune into that level of like body, mind, spirit, where it's like, oh, this is the way opens, and that's it. And there's no question, there's no forcing or shoving. Yeah, so this is a gentle way. This is a gentle path of not forcing it, not forcing your body to accept or take anything. You're only asking and listening and offering, right? It's like those words, asking and listening and offering. It's like you're in communication with spirit, with your spirit, with what's around. I always like to talk about the aliveness of the space around me, the potency of the space. Like it's there as a support for me. So this up and down, side, forward, backward, the four directions, heaven and earth, all those things are in my body. And not only in my body, they're outside of my body and they're supporting me. They're supporting the way that I'm shaping and forming. Ah. Adding in that breath and any kind of sound that feels good. Like sometimes sort of vibratory stuff just to shake out the stuff that's really stuck or the anxiety. If I do a lot of vibratory stuff though, it for me will bring up anxiety because I'm already pretty high energy. So a little bit of that, a little bit of shaking out, and then slowing down. You can think of like almost like suspension, like you're being suspended in a comfortable way, but in the three-dimensional nature of the world. Maybe there's a lot more dimensions, but let's just go with the three dimensions and the combinations of possibility within those. So like geometric space. That's one level. And then there's probably a bunch more. Yeah, so coming back to deep sensation. Yes, sounding, humming, yumming. I like that one. Yum, like, it's a delicious experience. Is there some stuff that you can let go of, that you can sort of free up? Let the cosmos digest it, right? So our digestion isn't just eating food, and it's also we digest our lives. How are we going to digest our life? All the things that happen. So if you end up doing this, you probably want to take a little bit of time afterwards to like just settle and allow your body to take in all or let go of all the stuff that you were doing. And a lot of the stuff is not conscious level, so it's happening at this other place, especially when we learn to move by allowing. So it's not controlling and forcing it in and making it right, but allowing it to bubble up, like just inviting the nervous system and the fluid in your body. You could just think of the four elements, like, or I mean, I know there's more elements in other systems, but the system I'm most familiar with is earth, air, fire, water. So very sort of Wiccan, Druid type thinking from my Northern European roots. But yeah, I can use the air, the water in my body, and that fire energy, right? It doesn't have to be anger, it can be passion. It's also the electricity in our bodies, right? We are dealing with electrical action inside in our nervous systems, in our hearts. That's the one I understand the least. But we are warm. And then there's the density of the earth, right? Of our bones. And the thing to think about with that is that we're alive. We are living. We are living. Every part of our body is like pulsating with life. And a lot of that life, like there's so much in it that it's different things, like the prebiotics and the probiotics and all the different, little tiny things on the surface of our skin. Yeah, all the weird shit that's going on. Ah. So what if we just try to interface with the whole system and go, you know what? I accept you and I love you. And it's fine for us to be here together. Ah. I don't want to hold you back. I want you to thrive. I want you to move forward in your life. I want you to feel good. I want you to be healthy. I'm saying this to myself, and you can say it to yourself. I'm also saying it to you. I mean, I want all those things for you, but this is the invitation to talk to your own body and say, yes, I'm ready to heal some stuff. I'm ready to evolve. I'm ready to grow. I'm ready to accept you as is, and to know that that's going to be a shifting and changing relationship, but to accept and love you as is. Oh, what about all those little imperfect parts? What about them? Well, they get to hang out too. I got some really bratty people inside of me who are, equally entertaining and destructive. So it's like, how do we go, okay, all right, you little crazy brat, let's just bring you in here and you can hang out and be a crazy brat. It's fine. We love you, that whole system. Mm. I don't think my crazy brat is the real troublemaker in my body. I think some of the hidden shameful ones are a little bit more. Ah. And it's funny how we take on these feelings of guilt or shame. This is my last story, and then I'm going to end it. When I was a little kid in elementary school, I had taken some books out from the library and never returned them, and gotten, ultimately the notices about return this, return this, return this, and I never returned them. And I felt so guilty about it. And every time I opened that drawer that I had them hidden away in and saw those books, I was like, shame and guilt. Should not have done that. So it could be weird stuff that you're holding on to. Let it go, let it move, squish it around. That's my very long, I meant to do a short one, almost a half an hour of processing some of the stuff, digging in, excavating, accepting, loving it up, telling yourself you're okay. It's okay as is. You can love yourself as is. You don't need to be better, more perfect, anything else. As is, you're okay. So I hope and pray that that is some help for the world and the universe so that we can not attack our own selves, so we can be kind within our own hearts to our little bodies.